Hello and welcome to Friday's Granada Reports, live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello there. On the programme this evening,
people blame me. People pass me and blame me. Call me rubbish, call me dirty, call me heroin.
Trying to survive on the street in temperatures of -10 and below. A special report on the people without homes in the big freeze.
also tonight, hundreds turn out to say a final farewell to the former soldier killed fighting for Ukraine.
Mixing with the stars, the former Corrie actor who feared she might not see this Christmas.
And in the weather, another bitterly cold one last night and indeed today, but we're starting to come out of the cold snap. All the details coming up shortly.
Well, first tonight, I would walk all night to keep warm. Those are the words of Daniel, who lives in Manchester and who was homeless for 8 months.
It's estimated there are more than 12,000 people without a home in the northwest. And as the cost of living crisis takes hold this winter, the fear is that number will inevitably rise.
Well, charities say homelessness is devastating and dangerous, and with temperatures plunging to below zero, demand for their services has soared.
Our reporter Emma Sweeney is in Manchester city centre for us this evening. Emma.
Well, it is just over a week to go now until Christmas, and certainly here in the centre of Manchester, as elsewhere in our towns and cities, there is plenty of festive cheer around. Loads of people this evening out and about enjoying the markets, perhaps having a mulled wine or two to stay warm. But all of this, of course, is in stark contrast to those who come in for very different reasons. For those who come in because they simply have nowhere else to go. As those sub-zero temperatures continue, the question is, well, what happens to those people and who looks after them? My colleague Rob Smith has this report.
There's no good time to be sleeping rough, but winter at -11 is among the worst. Emergency plans triggered by those temperatures mean councils and charities across the northwest are bringing more homeless people indoors. One shelter in Manchester's upped its spaces to help. Warm food, warm rooms, some extra camp beds if they're already full. Daniel, who works here, was on the streets for 8 months. What it took to keep warm in freezing weather is one reason he wants to make a difference.
Walking all night.
You'd walk all night?
All night. Looking like a bus station, going some public toilet even, sit down.
You can't sleep like that, though.
I know. My bad memory is like people blame me. People pass me and blame me. Call me rubbish, call me dirty, call me heroin, oh, another crack guy.
While you're sat there freezing cold?
Yeah.
With so many busying themselves trying to make ends meet this winter, support groups fear the numbers without a roof will rise. Adding in the bitter cold makes a dangerous combination.
I'm very worried because people really outside can't survive in these temperatures. If you couple that with the evictions taking place, which were halted during COVID, which are Section 21 no-fault evictions, which is where the landlord wants to take the house back basically or sell it. That couple now, what we're seeing now is those people.
Keeping people warm and safe is what this cafe in Rochdale opened to do. Through free drinks and meals for those in need and a food cupboard service, they're trying to help those who've lost their homes and stop others losing theirs.
As the weather's dropping, the temperature's dropping so much, it's valuable at this time. Something to eat, keep warm, get a brew, get help. We have people who are coming in and accessing food who haven't eaten for days, so they can come and get something to eat.
Without this place, a lot of people would be pretty much dead out there. It's mainly the hot meals what they provide and the service what they give you, the support network what it creates, the staff that are here, they're all brilliant. They all, like, how can I put it? They all put themselves on the line to make sure that you get somewhere in life.
Getting somewhere is the promise of Greater Manchester's A Bed Every Night scheme. Its goal, a place for every rough sleeper with support to move away from the streets. With 750 spaces, its founder says it's even more crucial when costs increase and temperatures fall.
It's the right thing to do. I think we're going to be living through times, sadly, where always a good number of us are going to be a few bits of bad luck away from being on the street ourselves. And in those circumstances, we're all going to need a scheme that helps people get back on their feet as quickly as possible.
Support services to bring people in from the cold are a world away from where they once were. But Christmas is neither good for bills nor weather. Safe places are in demand. Rob Smith, ITV News.
Next tonight, the group branded Thick for taking to thin ice on a Liverpool Park lake, playing football and even dancing.
Yeah, they ignored warnings and shouted abuse to park wardens trying to get them off the frozen water in Everton Park.
Liverpool Council has called them Thick for putting their lives at risk just days after 4 schoolboys died slipping into icy water in Birmingham.
Well, let's talk live now to Ben Levy from Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service. And Ben, many thanks for joining us this evening. I must say this footage really stopped the newsroom in its tracks this afternoon. What was your reaction when you first saw it?
Well, I think seeing footage like this so soon after we've seen such a tragic event down in Solihull, and my hearts go out to the families and the communities affected and those emergency service workers that attended. And to see that in the northwest now is just truly horrifying. It's so dangerous out on the frozen lakes and ponds, and I just implore everybody, please stay away from frozen lakes.
Now, this happened in Merseyside, which isn't your patch, but I presume you are this evening concerned that other people might be following suit in different parts of Greater Manchester.
Absolutely. Currently stood at the northern end of the Greater Manchester area, and we've got many lakes and ponds and rivers around here and canals, and they are frozen. The ice may look strong and thick, but it's not. And the further away you go from the edge, it's easily break. And if it does break, you will end up in the water. Your body will go into cold water shock, and those effects can prove very quickly fatal. Please do not go onto the ice. Don't throw balls or sticks for your dogs and your pets. And if they do go onto the ice, please don't follow them onto the ice. It's so very, very dangerous out there.
And Ben, what should bystanders be doing? What would your advice be? Should they be calling these people out on location, or should they be perhaps, I don't know, calling the police, for example?
Well, I think the most important advice I can give to you is if somebody is on the ice and they fall through the ice, please consider, do not go out onto the ice to rescue them. The ice is already broken. Dial 999 immediately. Request the fire and rescue service and allow the professionals to come and rescue those people. It's so very dangerous, and as we've seen down in Solihull, the tragedy that unfurled there, it's just heartbreaking. It really is.
It certainly is heartbreaking. The advice that you're giving, does that apply to people of all ages? Because I'm guessing there will be some people who will consider themselves fit, strong, healthy, perhaps even strong swimmers.
Our firefighters are fit, healthy, strong swimmers, and we would not enter that water without proper thermal protection. If you enter that water, it's 0 degrees or colder, and as you go into the water, you will enter cold water shock syndrome, and I say again, those effects can be very, very quickly fatal, as we've so sadly seen up and down the country.
Do you think you'll see more cases such as what we saw in the West Midlands over the next few weeks?
Well, we've seen footage today from across the northwest of people on the ice, and over the next few days we may see the temperature starting to warm, and any ice that is around is going to start weakening, so it's more likely to break under the weight of either people or if you allow your dogs to run onto the ice. Just please simply stay away from the ice, and if you've got children and young people with you, please give them the same message. Stay off the ice, it is not safe.
Yeah, very scary stuff. Ben Levy from Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue, many thanks indeed for your advice this evening. Thank you.
The funeral's taken place of a former soldier from Lancashire who was killed fighting in Ukraine.
Hundreds paid tribute to Simon Lingard in his hometown of Great Harwood in Blackburn.
His family raised almost £32,000 to pay for the funeral. Our correspondent Andy Bonner reports.
He was described as a hero. Family and friends came together to remember Simon Lingard, or Grimmy. Amongst them, his 2 teenage children, Jackson and Keane.
He was always a fighter and always a warrior in his spirit, of course. Yeah, that never left him.
Tom is a childhood friend who, like Simon, served in Afghanistan. But Tom decided not to go to Ukraine. He told me everyone is heartbroken about his pal.
Just what a good man he was, just that he always saw the good in people and strived to bring out the best in people. and he gave so much of himself when he had nothing really left of himself to give. He believed in what he was doing, knew what he was fighting for, and that was Grimmy, really. He always fought for what he believed in.
Simon Lingard was killed last month when his unit was attacked on the front line in Ukraine. The 38-year-old former paratrooper was the third British national to die in the war. Outside St Bartholomew's Church today, Ukrainian flags held alongside those of the British Legion.
It was always, he couldn't walk past someone in need. Whether it was a homeless person he'd buy a pie for, or the neighbour, he'd do the garden, you know, and that was just struck him. So for him, I believe it's just another situation where he saw injustice and he felt he had to do something about it. And that reflected the way he lived his whole life in many ways, you know.
A crowdfunder to pay for the funeral costs reached nearly £32,000. Any money left over will go into a trust for the children who've been left without a father. Andy Bonner, ITV News, Great Harwood.
Now, community leaders joined worshippers at a mosque in Stockport today in a show of solidarity after it was the target of a hate crime.
A pig's head was left on the roof of the mosque last week. It's left many of the members feeling threatened and intimidated, as Anna Yosef reports.
So this is where you found it?
Yes, exactly. That's the place where they placed the pig's head. They parked up there and they placed it because this is a very visible place.
Police are continuing to investigate the hate crime that took place last week at this mosque in Heaton, Mersey, when a pig's head was left on the roof. A distressing and grim discovery for most, but particularly offensive to Muslims who consider pigs to be unclean. It's left many here feeling threatened and intimidated.
They think somebody has targeted them, that particular community, by putting the pig's head here. This centre is here for 10 years. We never had any issue like this, and it's give them a really sorrow feeling and painful feeling.
Today, united against hate, community leaders joined worshippers for Friday prayers.
Everybody should be able to worship however they want, wherever they want.
We need to make sure that people of all faiths and none coexist together, but especially if you're a member of a faith community, that you have the opportunity to practice that faith without fear, without recrimination and without threat.
Generally speaking, Stockport's a really good place to live when it comes to people of faith. I'm religious myself, and the community relations are good in Stockport, but we have some people, sadly, who behave in a criminal manner like this, and their actions are designed to traumatise and attack and marginalise a smaller community, and it's simply not acceptable.
2 men have been arrested and bailed in connection with the incident, and a third man was detained earlier today. Anna Yosef, ITV News.
This evening's other news, and Labour has comfortably held its seat in the Stretford and Urmston by-election.
Andrew Howard Weston is duly elected.
Andrew Weston, who used to be leader of Trafford Council, won with a majority of 10,000. The by-election came after Labour MP Kate Green stood down to become Deputy Mayor of Greater Manchester. Labour won the by-election in Chester earlier this month.
I think it sends a strong message that Labour are starting to win back the trust of people across the country. I'm absolutely delighted by this result tonight, as I was with the Chester result, but actually what we need right now is the ultimate test. That's a general election, and if I was the Tories, I'd be very worried about that indeed.
Soldiers are being trained in Merseyside to drive and use ambulances ahead of the strike next week. They are learning how to support the NHS if the stoppage does go ahead. Workers at the service in the northwest are among those due to walk out next Wednesday.
In terms of the Army, this is part of what we do. The Army is part of the society we live in, and the Army does help where it's needed. This isn't a new task, we've done this before. Certainly with COVID 2 years ago we did Operation Rescript, and it was a very similar idea. So for the soldiers, this isn't any new surprise. It's actually something they're quite used to, and again, as I said before, they approach it with confidence.
The Army, with all due respect, are not trained to the same skill set as myself as a paramedic. You know, this is not just a paramedic strike. So yes, the Army may be coming in to cover the ambulances, but who's going to take the 999 calls? Who's going to go and repair the ambulance when it breaks down? This is an ambulance worker strike and not just a paramedic strike.
A young woman with incurable brain cancer has had a day to remember, courtesy of Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue. Laura Nuttall from Pendle was given just 12 months to live in 2018. Recent surgery has failed to halt the disease. Today she was given a special tour of Oldham Fire Station. Her visit including trying on the uniform, going up in a huge cherry picker and manning a fire hose.
Well, I just want to say a huge thank you because they've gone out of their way to show me around and give me the experience, and it's been very inspiring.
Oh, she's just loved it. It's been really amazing for her, and to see her in the uniform and going up on the platform, it's just incredible.
And you can find more on Laura's story on our website. It really is worth a read at the usual address, itv.com/Granada.
Now, here's Lucrezia with details of the ITV News in 15 minutes.
Further travel disruption for Christmas with strikes across the UK. Rail workers begin another 48-hour walkout on one of the biggest shopping weekends of the year. Also, concert goers in critical condition after a crush at a venue in South London. Jailed for life, the lab worker who strangled and slashed the throat of his colleague, Megan Newborough. Now, there's special thanks from a musician who almost died from COVID to the nursing staff who saved him. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
OK, Chris is here with all the sport. Hello, Chris.
Yeah, we start with Everton's Anthony Gordon. He's urging the fans to stick with the team despite a disappointing season so far. Everton sit just above the relegation zone and return to action at Goodison Park on Boxing Day against Wolves. With Christmas just over a week away, the Blues forward has been spreading some festive cheer to those finding it tough at this time of year, as David Chisnall reports.
They're coming. It's a special Santa with a blue hat, blonde highlights and bags of essentials.
Hello. How are you? Very good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Lovely to meet you both.
Everton's Anthony Gordon has swapped the football pitch for the food pantry as he spent his day off donating 7 trolleys worth of food and toiletries to the club's blue base.
It's a boss setup that you've done here.
The centre run by Everton in the community has become a lifeline to many in one of the most deprived areas of the country.
It's something I've wanted to do for a while. I think I want to help people. It's not a big special thing. I just want to help as many people as possible, really. When it comes to this time of year, it can be really difficult. Got your onions.
And you've been getting involved as well, helping out on the onion stand. How was that? Have you got a future as a fruit and veg man?
Maybe one day. Yeah, they've had me working quite hard, so I've really enjoyed it though, to be fair. I was better than I thought. Well, I'll come round.
For Anthony, helping out at this community hub has a very personal significance, as the 21-year-old grew up here.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
No problem. I was born literally 5 minutes away from here, if that. So being from here, I know the struggles that go on within the city. So to see, us come together, Scousers help each other a lot. So to see the environment created here, and it's amazing.
The weekly pantry is run by the club's charity along with fan-supporting food banks, St Andrew's Community Network, Fair Share and your local pantry. And anyone attending can also get a health check and help with housing and welfare.
We've been going 6 months. We've fed something like 8,000 people in total. I think we're the 4th biggest pantry in the UK, the 2nd biggest outside of London. So it shows that people value the service. They come back every week and they always leave with a smile on their face.
How would you cope without this place?
I probably wouldn't. I'd probably be sitting at home worrying about what I'm going to spend my money on. Do I eat? Do I not? Do I warm the house? We haven't got much money at the moment. Christmas coming along and it does really help.
Well, the community here is pulling together to help those in difficult times, and Anthony is hoping the Everton fans will rally around the team, which went into the winter break 4th from bottom in the Premier League.
Everton is a family club, and all we can ask is you stick by us throughout the season. We'll try and give you as many good days as we possibly can, hopefully. We need to kick on. We've got a good group, so it should be no problem. We had a really good trip in Australia, which I thought was massive for team morale and our confidence booster, really, because there was some great performances there. See other people do it before you, that's your cue to then go, if they can do it, I can do it, if I'm willing to work hard enough. So as long as that pathway's there, and like I said, the manager and the FA are really pushing the youth, so it is there. Is that enough?
But while Anthony dreams of appearing for England, he's already planning many more appearances at the pantry.
Hello there. Hello.
David Chisnall, ITV News, Liverpool.
There you go. Thank you. No problem.
Getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsors of the Granada Sport Report.
Sale Sharks have been given a lesson in resilience before taking on one of the giants of rugby union. Their Heineken Cup fixture is against the most successful club in Europe, 5-time winners Toulouse. But before flying out to France, Sale were given an inspirational talk by Martin Hibbert, a survivor of the Manchester Arena bomb who climbed Kilimanjaro in a wheelchair earlier this year.
He's living, breathing example of what resilience is. Of what to face adversity and how to reframe your reality. You know, and sport's a microcosm of that in every sense, isn't it? But he's done it and lived it and continues to climb mountains like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. In ice hockey, Manchester Storm host their annual Air the Bear match tomorrow night when they take on Belfast. Last year, 2,000 teddy bears were thrown onto the ice and donated to the charity Cash for Kids. This year, they're hoping to beat that number, what a sight it is, and help provide a Christmas present to 76,000 children living in poverty across the Northwest.
Obviously, the holiday times, it's a great time for your family, and it's nice to be able to help out those less fortunate. Last year, I think we had over 2,000 bears, so it's nice to you score the first goal and the bears come over the ice, and it's a pretty cool night.
This has been a record year for applications. As you can imagine, more and more families are struggling this Christmas, and we found it really tough. Donations have been slow this year. Everyone's finding it hard, and we appreciate that. So any help that we can get from places like Manchester Storm makes a huge difference to Mission Christmas.
Yeah, well done, Manchester Storm. Always a great sight when they air the bear.
They're fantastic. I love them. Finally, the former Coronation Street star who feared she might not see this Christmas, but now has 2 reasons to celebrate.
Victoria Econoy is starring in her first feature film. It comes after she was diagnosed with breast cancer and had a double mastectomy last year.
Our entertainment correspondent, Caroline Whitmore, caught up with her.
You're really going to say thanks after everything we've just learned?
Is that a problem?
Victoria Econoy, Coronation Street, X Factor, and now your first ever feature film.
I know.
Opposite Liz Hurley, no less.
I know.
Tell us all about Christmas in Paradise.
It's a really lovely, feel-good, silly, fun, romantic movie. And it's festive, and that's what we need, that's what we want. It's a sequel to Father Christmas is Back, which stars Kelsey Grammer as Father Christmas. With this one, he is on an island, a beautiful island called Nevis, and the family have no idea why he's there. And there's a specific theme through it that I think once people watch will understand why I really wanted to do this movie.
You're kind of telling us a little bit, but not telling us too much.
My lips are sealed.
Shall we see you in action and then we'll get a little bit of a feel for it?
Yes,
OK,
sure.
Here we go.
Perfect.
Megan.
You're staying for Christmas?
Well, that's about a week away, isn't it? I made a promise to myself I wouldn't plan anything that far ahead anymore.
Well, if you can plan as far as this afternoon, maybe you could join us at the beach yoga session. Our teacher Van is very good.
Okay, I'm in.
Well, Mr. Rhythm, you got yourself a date?
Does Kelsey Grammer know of Coronation Street?
Yes.
Does he?
I know. I was surprised, but not for any other reason except for I didn't think it reached there, but of course it does. It's the biggest and longest running.
Yeah.
So in the world. So they know of it, and I wasn't expecting that at all.
The pictures you sent me, this being one of them, there's he mates with Liz Hurley.
That was actually dinner. We were also with her son Damien, who is also incredibly talented and equally as beautiful. It's so unfair. Look at them both. They really looked after me. They took me under their wing. They're the reason why I was there in the first place.
The last time we met, it's virtually a year to the day
where
you had your bye-bye booby party.
Yeah.
You were going in for a mastectomy.
Mm-hmm.
You look incredible.
Thank you.
Just tell us, how are you doing now?
I just wasn't ever expecting to be able to move on so quickly, really. And it's, you know, it's still a part of our lives. I'm on medication, and that will be for at least the next 5 years. I'm the 5th person in my family to develop breast cancer. I was breastfeeding when I found the lump. A lot of people assume that those changes are because you've just had a baby and all the hormonal changes. And also with my mum, who was one of the 5 that had breast cancer, she is a big part of why I'm here today. Not just because I was able to... Sorry.
You're right.
Yeah. I'm good. Not just because I was able to detect it and get myself seen, but because she'd been through it. So, and then having my baby boy. All right.
Don't apologise for anything. You are an inspiration.
I think it's just about how you deal with it and hoping that you can help other people along the process. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, you're doing a very good job there. And where can we watch Christmas in Paradise then?
It will be out on Apple TV, Amazon Prime, Google, Sky. It's fun, lots of love, and I think that's what we all need a little bit more of.
Have a lovely Christmas after everything you've been through. Just have a fabulous Christmas.
Thank you so much, and you too.
An inspiration, and now hanging out with Hollywood stars.
She's brilliant. Victory, Victoria.
Pretty cool. Here's Emma with the weather.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there, hope you had a good day today. It was bitterly cold again last night, down to minus 10.7 Celsius in Rosthern in the northwest. That was the coldest part of the region, and some of us are getting into the Christmas spirit. They don't look too happy about it, to be honest. Probably because it was so very cold last night, but things not as frosty tonight. However, we do have a warning for icy stretches right the way across our patch. I'll show you why in a second. We've got some beautiful furry frolics captured by Darren Moston there, and some feathering frolics as well from Keith Rylance. Thank you for sharing those photos. But things are improving. We're starting to come out of this cold snap now. Temperatures beginning to rise from tomorrow onwards, and certainly by Monday we'll notice a big difference, Saturday being the last frosty night. So at the moment we're on the northerly side of the jet stream, the cold side. But on Saturday and Sunday you can see that the jet stream starts to move further northwards, so we'll be into the milder air for the start of next week. But then it could potentially turn quite cold again from midweek onwards, and so we'll keep you posted on that one by the time we get closer to Christmas. Over the next few hours, a widespread frost for the first part of the night. Later in the night, some showers sinking southwards. They could turn to rain or sleet at lower levels, snow above 300 metres, so over the tops of the Pennines and through parts of Cumbria. And as you can see, sub-zero temperatures, but not as cold as last night. Subtle change in wind direction and a bit more cloud causing that. Various sunrise and sunset times for tomorrow. Sun's up at 8:24, sets at 3:50. And tomorrow, still some showers around. In the morning, they could fall as snow at height. In the afternoon, they'll turn back to rain again, and there'll be some brighter spells between the showers, and temperatures just starting to push up ever so slightly, up by a couple of degrees on today's values. Some mist and fog patches overnight which could linger into the morning. Then a front crossing west to east on Sunday, some snow on the leading edge. It could snow for a few hours, turning quickly back to rain. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
It's not over yet. Stay off the ice. I'm back after news at 10.
You're going to be bringing back the furry and feathery frolics?
Yes.
For that bulletin? We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.